Sorry, I can't hear you guys anymore. I don't know if you started. It's all gone quiet now. Okay, so I'm not the only one.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, thank you. So, as I was saying, the first thing we should know is what SARS actually is. And I'm sure that one way or the other, everyone around here knows what SARS is, the full meaning of SARS. However, it's a background to everything we're going to talk about. So SARS is an acronym for Special Anti-Robbery Squad, and it was part of a police force that was created in the year 1992. So when SARS was created, the whole idea surrounding the creation of SARS was to ensure that crimes that are associated with robbery, with theft of vehicles, with kidnapping, and anything involving firearms, basically, was to ensure that things like that are combated with. Now, you'll be wondering why SARS was created when the police unit itself is there. I mean, that's like everything listed here is what the police should automatically combat already. So, but then there's a story behind the creation of SARS, and yeah.
So so in 1992, something happened, I think, on the Lagos Expressway. So a man named Colonel Rindam was killed by police officers on the Lagos checkpoint. So and due to this, the army was aggravated, and I think they tried to retaliate against the police. So I think they started parking police on the street, which led to the other members of the police force running for their lives. Seem to be doing. So after they basically left the street, that was it for about 2 weeks because they didn't want to get killed. They, due to that period of time, the 2 weeks, crime shut up because obviously there was no security anymore on the street. The soldiers were angry, police were scared. So that period of time, there were a lot of crime happening. So to handle that scenario, the government created SARS to fight crime in that period of time. So and then after some time, the police and soldiers were able to come to an agreement and settle their differences, and then they were able to turn back to the streets to protect the civilians. But of course, SARS has already been created, so that's basically how SARS came to be. And I think at some point they joined the police force as a unit under the police force, which leads us to where we are today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then fast forward to 2020, not throughout the whole period. So of course, SARS should have done a lot of things along the way when they were first created. Obviously, like good things like actually fighting crime, arresting criminals, and likes. But fast forward back over to 2020, and not even starting now. Let's say from we've seen stories. Actually, there are a lot of stories online right now. You can check Twitter, you can check endsars.com. You'll see a lot of stories that actually shows what SARS has actually been doing, which is not fighting crime. Basically, it's more of fighting the innocent, which is sad. So,
yeah. So, I mean, I think it's what's emphasizing the fact that it probably hasn't all been bad, what SARS has done. The reason they were created was for a good thing. At the beginning of creation, they might have done what they were created to do. So for the first few years, it probably would have been good. But then something must have happened for SARS to go from the symbol of hope that they were then to the police to what it is now. Currently, SARS seems like a menace to the Nigerian youths and a menace in the society. So there was a story, just to to put us in perspective, there was a story that I read recently on Medium. So it was this, I think that event happened during the pandemic, when the pandemic had just started, maybe 2 months into the pandemic. So there were four friends, and after 2 months into the pandemic, they were tired of things that have been happening. I know that we probably remember the first 2 months of our staying indoors. It was crazy for people here. We were basically tired of staying indoors, of seeing the same faces and hearing the same voices over and over again. So after 2 months, after 2 months, these guys decided to go out and maybe go out to buy food and get drinks and just basically party. And then the party was going to be in their house anyways. So they went out, and there was curfew going on then. This story is in Lagos. They went out and got the stuff they wanted, and on their way back, they were obviously rushing to beat the curfew. I think curfew was for 7 p.m., and they were trying as much as possible to get to their homes before 7 p.m. So on their way, they met some unit of police on the way. I think they were called AKS, that's Anti-Kidnapping Squad. Now, these guys stopped them on the road and asked for their licenses and every other thing they asked drivers for. And the guys in the car were like, okay, they're policemen. Of course, you feel safe when you're around policemen. They brought out the license, and before they knew it, it got to the point where one of them was taken into the police van, and then the remaining three were trying to advocate for the person they are taking, and before you knew it, two more people were taken into the van, and it got to the point where it was just one person left, and this particular person had to call their boss at work. So these four people all worked in the same place. He had to call their boss at work to let him know that they had been arrested, and for that reason, I think he was arrested as well. So they took the four of them to the police station and drove their car alongside to the police station. When they got to the police station, the AKS boss came to meet them and started negotiating. So the negotiation was that you have to drop 100K before you are released from here. The boss says, as I day here, now maybe the head of this place, I feel release you. So all you have to do is drop 100K. And they negotiated down to, I think, either 50K or 20K, I can't be sure. So apparently, these guys had to go to the ATM to withdraw and pay the policemen. Remember that one of them had called their boss to come and rescue them. So they released them, and it was after they were released, they got to know that the person they called to come and rescue them had also been arrested on the road for whatever reason. So now this is not about SARS. The story I mentioned was not done by SARS, it was done by AKS. But that's just to show that when Nigerian youths are saying end SARS, it probably isn't just for the SARS body alone. It also means that there is a lot of corruption going on in the country. And like the name implies, anti-kidnapping squad should probably be dealing with kidnapping and not checking people's driver's license on the road. So what exactly changed? What changed? Why did SARS move from what they were created to do to harassing young men and women on the streets? So here we have a couple of things that we think changed.
Yeah, okay. This is obviously subjective. It's not like things set in stone, and it's like facts, basically. It's what we think changed. So opinions are welcome, obviously. So for one, we think lack of proper training for the officers it's a part of what actually caused this. So if like I've been checking Twitter a lot lately, obviously because of what's going on, and you see a lot of stories by, let's say, even former people that were serving in the force, and you see them, like there was one I saw. So So there's this program that happens that happens to members of the police force, that they take them over to the US to train them and bring them back to Nigeria to serve in the force. But this particular policeman said, to actually get selected as part of the people that are going, you have to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, which takes us back to what happens in the Nigerian society. Like, to enter school, you have to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that can get you in, which is not supposed to be so. You are not supposed to be to know to really know anyone, to be able to get adequate training to serve the citizens of your country well. And uh, yeah, also, like, so of course the guys that are not taking over, they are trained in Nigeria obviously. And what if you say stations like the barracks, the buildings of the police force, you know, obviously these are not adequate for training police officers enough, and probably are just putting unnecessary uh, trauma on them, which is the better take out on the civilians. And then the next is corruption, and you can't even start talking about this because this is just so big. So yeah, I've also I've seen a lot of stories, to be honest, in the past few days, and corruption basically goes all the way from the top to the bottom. Uh, yeah. So and when I made the top, I don't know where the top is right now because it's just so high, and it just goes to the man you see on the street threatening to kill you if you don't give him something. So there was one I saw, like there are chains. The person at the top, I don't know, the person at the top basically takes money from the person next to him. They have set goals that they have to bring in, and that trickles all the way down to the man who's on the street trying to meet his own targets and get money back to the person right above him, which also does the same. So and that's not only it.
Yeah, so there's also the issue of policemen having no accountability. It looks like at the point where we're in, a policeman carrying a policeman can just do anything on the streets because he knows that there's no consequences for his action. Now, you might have been seeing this go around on Twitter. When someone tells you, I go shoot you and nothing will happen, you know that obviously it means that he's not scared of anything. Nothing will happen when he shoots you. And that shouldn't be the case where we're in. We also have this poverty mentality. Now, when we say poverty mentality, it affects most people, even educated people can have this mentality. Now, this happens when someone says, "Ah, you're 23 years old and you have 500,000 naira in your account. How is that possible? It's not possible. Who's your father? Is your father $10? So that's to an extent is poverty mentality when already what the average Nigerian mind has been conditioned to know is that before you can actually make it, you probably have to have worked for about 20 years and saved enough money to be considered rich or to be considered well-to-do for you to be able to afford some things. So here we also have influences of culture. Oh,
So
so if you want
on
to,
poverty mentality, I'll probably share this particular video I saw of this police officer. Basically, he asked this guy, "How much did you buy your phone?" It was in a public transport, probably on transit from one state to the other. And he asked this guy, "How much did you buy your phone?" The guy said 250,000 naira. And then the police officer said, "How are you able to buy a 250,000 naira phone when my own phone is 19,000 naira?" And well, I was really angry about that because it doesn't know you from anywhere. Basically, it doesn't have to um, it doesn't have to know you or care about what you do with your life to for him to afford the 250,000 naira phone. And because of that, I know. So of course, the video ended at some point, but during the course of the video, he didn't release the phone, and the guy had to follow him. They took his bags, and I guess probably something must have happened to him along that way. And I really hope he was not killed at some point, hopefully. So yeah, and then there was this interview too. Probably people have seen it of this police officer on TV. I think channel is it channel or channel? Yeah, I think one Sars was there and he said, like, how will you as a 20 to 30-year-old own a 7 million naira car if it doesn't know your family, which means your family must have been well to do for you to own a 7 million naira car, which is just wrong. Absurd. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So cultural influences.
So moving on, I think by now, if you go on our random channel on Slack, we should all know the story of Cousin Yemi now. There's a link here, you can follow the link. It just goes to show the Nigerian mentality on how people believe that with age comes respect. So most Nigerians, let me not generalize, most Nigerians do not believe that respect is reciprocal. People believe that as they grow older, their younger ones should respect them. However, we all know the adage, I don't know if it's an adage or the saying that says respect is reciprocal. You basically have to respect the next person for the next person to respect you. But then Nigerians believe that as a young one, you basically have to respect your older person, which is probably what is brought into the police unit. Most policemen out there are older, and when they see young people and someone says, bring your phone, and you're like, why should I give you my phone? You don't have respect. You cannot be talking to an older person like that. When someone older tells you, bring me your phone, you bring it. So that's the Nigerian mentality. And these things are cultural. At home, you are taught to respect your elders, up to the point where if an adult is doing something wrong, at times you should not even be able to say that this man, you are doing it the wrong way. You are just expected to accept those things. Also, Efe was sharing some story about how someone felt that if you respect him, you should fear him. So I don't know how respect is equated to fear, but it looks like that is the case with policemen nowadays. If you don't fear them, it challenges them. You have to fear a policeman, especially one carrying a gun, an AK-47, which is probably why they show off their guns a lot. I don't know.
Start talking the minute you don't wind down your glass and
exactly. Bring the fear of God on you. So we've spoken about all the things we think went wrong, but then it won't do us justice if we don't mention what we think the way forward is. Yeah. So this is supposed to be a discussion at the end of the day, although we are bringing in our opinion into this, but we'll also be expecting the congregation, the audience, yes, to bring in, for you to bring in your own opinions as well, because, like they said, two heads.
I'm better than
Completed. Two good heads. I'm sure we have more than two good heads here, but okay, let's continue.
Okay.
So way forward. Police reform.
Okay. So I know Shade mentioned the story about AKS. When the youth are shouting end SARS, and I don't want to mention anything. So and the next thing the government does is to probably remove SARS and brings in a new one, SWAT. It's not really. That's not what the youth really means. It's more of like a slogan for a more comprehensive message. When we are saying end SARS, we are saying reform this police, go through all the ranks, try and end corruption. Let them know not to just carry citizens and take them to one bush and start threatening them to kill them if you don't give them money. Things as such, because it's not only the SARS that does all these things. I think it's the SARS that actually takes it a lot more serious to the extreme. and that's why they are the name of this particular protest going on. And yeah, so what we think can help and moving forward is basically reforming the police. They are like if you watch mobile movies when I watched mobile movies when I was young, and how they portray the police is somebody can just come and carry you. Like let's say they hear a report, they can come and carry you and start threatening and start um, torturing you in that cell for until you confess, which basically defeats the purpose of confessing because you are torturing me to admit, not torturing to confess, which is already not enough. So that's how the police is portrayed, even and that's what they actually do. And things like that should not be done in the society where you're supposed to feel safe around policemen. Also, we think Nigerians on learning and relearning will help. So this sometimes, and actually a lot of the time, SARS don't always carry their victims to maybe bushes and start trying to threaten them over there. They also do it like right in the middle of the day, like at the side of the road. But the average Nigerian will probably, of course, because you fear them and they are usually trigger happy, you don't want to put your own business in, put your own mouth in what doesn't actually concern you. And of course, it may be you tomorrow. Obviously, it's not like the person that was caught today plans to be caught. So Nigerians should also come to the like ask about what happened. Like so, after the protest, after the start of this protest, there was a video I saw yesterday where a policeman, and I think I saw this man's face in another viral video. So when they was trying to extort one man, I'm pretty sure it was the one. So I think it was the same policeman, and I think yesterday the man entered at the usually do they enter your front seat without knocking your so they enter your front seat and start telling you to pay something, and without paying, you don't. They try to get to the station. So this particular policeman entered the front seat and tried telling the driver to start paying. So as soon as he did that, I think people around quickly went over, started recording, asking him what did he do. To which obviously almost like 90% of the time they don't have an answer to what this person did. They just want their own share of what he has. So he could not answer that, and at the end of the day, because there were way too many people around him, he had to leave and
In shame.
yeah, in shame. So we think instead of the average Nigerian to just ignore what happens to a fellow Nigerian, you should just probably just if there are enough people around, obviously, so that they don't carry the two of you. If there are enough people around, you should probably try and say like if you can do something to help the person that has been taken.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is also rebuilding the community. So this tweet here, there's an image of a tweet by Iyolu Aboyeji, and I'm sure most of us pretty know him. So what he is basically saying here is that he was suggesting we fixing the issues ourselves. Although here he specifically mentioned police barracks in Lagos. Now, I think we want to throw this out as a discussion, as something to discuss about. Do you think the community should be liable to make these changes? Should we even be considering rebuilding the community? Shouldn't these things be done by the government? Now, it's a two-way thing. I think it should be done by the government, or even citizens should help. What do we think? What's the...
Let me try it. Sorry. All right. So yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So in my own opinion, I think it's something that may be done, something that may not be done, that should be done or should not be done. Sorry. Yeah. So because due to some certain reasons, some being so obviously there are way too many police barracks that are not fully functional, that are not very presentable to the public as a police barrack, and obviously they are limited funds to the amount of obviously even if you can raise ₦1 billion, they will at the end of the day be limited, and you probably will not be able to do what the government is actually supposed to do, because it's supposed to be done by the government. There was something Fowles was saying yesterday on Twitter, where I think 0.5% of tax is actually supposed to go to the police for them to use for the total of the budget of 0.5% of the there are a lot of money that's supposed to go to the police, a lot of money that's supposed to go to the police, which is supposed to be done for all these purposes, and probably pay the barracks, giving them ammunition and stuff. But it's not being done because the money is just hanging somewhere. So I think I won't be against doing it or against not doing it, but I think it may split the whole Nigerian society if it's done. But nothing will happen if it's not done because it's not necessarily our job.
Thank you. Derek. Please, can you?
You can.
So definitely speak. So, like what David said, there is fund. There is fund available for police, police force generally to be developed, like, to give them a very good pay, give them proper equipment and the proper infrastructure to run their business and to make their job properly. But the money is not somewhere. But so the money does not get to the bottom guys, the policemen are also in the streets. And so I believe that if Nigerians actually ask for accountability for these funds, if we try to get them to show us what's happening with the fund, and then if we're able to get them to release these funds to the police, we will not need to have to wait for them because the money is there already. Understand? And not having someone like Keke said, it is there already, so it's available to do all this stuff, to pay them properly, to give them proper training and education, to give them proper housing, because these guys they get paid peanuts and then they have to pay for their uniform by themselves, they have to pay for their house by themselves. And then I saw a video of a man that worked in for 17 years. And then this man, after 17 years, was able to pay about 60K a month. Now, if it's 2K per day, so if you use a day, 2K is out. And so they get the money and they close in the evening. And then they give them guns. Now, this man has children to feed. He has a family to raise. Now, you give them guns. And then what they expect when you give someone that is broke, people go and try and broke. So, broke mental and broke financially. So, best one go and rob and stuff. So, I mean, it even shows in our public system, all these our public hospitals, our public offices. This place that are getting peanuts, they tend to take it out on the space. People dying in the hospital because the nurse is hungry that she needs money. Understand? If you see, you want to go and renew your passport, and they have to pay extra 50K to send some people for it and allow you to go. So, I believe that probably is primarily from the way funds are being distributed. If they are being paid properly, although there is greed, fine, but then if they are being paid properly, they will not want to go and try and find alternative ways to make money and thereby causing us troubles. So yeah, I think the problem is, the situation problem is trying to do risk and trying to get accountability for the funds made and try and get people accountable for their jobs. If for example now a doctor that is to treat someone because he is not in a good mood and that money and everything. If the patient dies and the doctor is charged and the doctor loses his license, that would be a gain for that doctor to do their job properly. If policemen have to give account for each bullet that they fire, and then if they if they kill or shoot anybody that wasn't armed, not by the way body count, so they can know that okay, this was what happened. If you can see this that happening, and then if we can, not body count Nigeria. If you can see this in Africa, and you can say, okay, this person was not armed, the person was not trying to resist arrest, the person was shot and probably killed, and this policeman was trying to cut and then taken to prison. Other policemen will have sense. They will not just claim anyhow. That's what I'm saying. So accountability is the issue actually.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then.
Any more? Thanks.
So for me,
Hello.
Hi, talks.
Was somebody talking before? I couldn't hear that. I said, was somebody say something? Or can I go?
Babs was talking.
Oh, Babs, you can finish, but maybe you should move closer to the mic so that I can hear.
okay, so for me, I think the government should be able to take the full responsibility of taking care of this related right now. It's not meant for the public to actually do things for the government. Because even at the end of the day, it will only lead to more corruption. And it's actually bigger than what the people can handle by themselves. And if you try to take a look at it more carefully, what is actually going on in Nigeria is not only you don't have to play this asset, because you also have some individuals that are just dubious by nature. So these guys, they actually they cause more harm to many people and render some people victims, homeless, jobless, things like that. And for the past few years, I think we have some set of people like maybe musicians trying to glorify this set of people. This guys and they've been glorifying for the past few years. And we all know that these guys, the government, they are not really doing something much for them. So it's just trigger like it's like a fire that will ignite in this place. When they see that okay, this guy is we can get something from so we have like we are already used to all these things. So when they see any young man, any young woman that is not even into this household, they will just believe that oh, this particular person that I'm looking at must be doing what I think they are doing. So I think we also when we are trying to like appeal to the government to make these squad guys, and we should also take note of ourselves that we are also because of the problem that we have recently. Because since 1992 to date, I don't think we had any kind of opportunity like this before. Like it just recently that these things are happening. So I think no, like this they are also so this was actually this is actually why it is so much like business. So I think the government also should provide us, but I don't think happening also. So
Yeah, thanks, Babs.
Thank you, Babs.
I think we should clap now. Thanks. Any other contribution before we move forward? I think this is the last slide.
Yeah, we
Okay, so thank you. Any other?
Wait, oh guys, don't go. Let me contribute my little voice to this matter. So where we are is unfortunate, and I don't think there are any easy answers. By the way, I think I slightly disagree with what he wrote there about fixing that police station because it's not going to solve anything. I think, and I know that I'm not in Nigeria, I'm not carrying placard right now. I know Agber is chasing with stick. But I think just going to fix a police station is not going to solve the problem. That's exactly what we've been doing before, patching things up. I think it's hard. I don't think there's any one solution, but I think what exactly is happening is that a section of the country is taking that section of the country for granted. And that's what we're seeing here. So this is the line of the protests. And Buhari hasn't done anything categorical. he made a statement by saying, okay, I'll disband SARS, but they were stupid enough that within a few days, or within a day actually, they just created something else. And they only promised that nobody from here will go there when there's no way to actually monitor it. So I honestly don't really have an answer, and but I just think I thank you very much for the presentation. I like everything you said, and I think part of the problem is a section of the country, maybe some of the older folks, they have gotten to a point where they assume they deserve respect, just like you said. Um, Respect where respect is absolute because of my power, my position, or my age, or something that I have just means that I can, and that power is almost is absolute. That power does not need any accountability. It's just absolute, and that's the way we treat power in especially in the southwest. I don't know too much about many other cultures. I don't want to generalize. I know, for example, when I was in secondary school, it was the same thing. Seniors, 15-year-old seniors could almost do anything to you, punish you, almost kill you, take all your food. And when a senior is like that, imagine what. And so one of my friends made a point that some of those guys are now in politics. So imagine if they were used to eating all the food that belonged to everybody when they were in secondary school. That just reflects to what's going on in Nigeria right now. So I don't know how long we can keep the momentum on the protests. I hope it doesn't stop as a protest and it carries on into the way we vote and select our leaders from local government. Um, but yeah, I don't think we should divert our money to fixing police barracks. We already pay taxes, and they already take the oil money to do whatever they want to do. Any money that we find and we can raise, we should spend it towards moving a new generation of the country forward. Whether that be in, I don't know what that means. Whether it's sponsoring candidates, supporting candidates. We fix one police station in Ikeja. The same policeman that you fix the police station for doesn't mean that the guy won't step out to do exactly the same thing. And it's not really the policeman's fault. It's the way the system is set up. There are some stories, right? Two things. I'll let you guys go. One thing was there was a time I went to Abuja and I was in the police headquarters. I was working in Google at the time, and I think Accenture wanted to map like all the police stations in Nigeria, put them on Google Maps, so that. Oh no, I think Google wanted to. I can't remember who wanted to, but they told me to go with Accenture. So we're there, and you would have thought this is a public service, right? Just make sure that when people are in trouble, they can find the nearest police station on their phone and locate the police station. And we got there. Number one, they said we had to meet the IG. I thought that was crazy. Why do you need to meet the IG? Just do something simple. Give us locations of police station. We'll upload it. It became a big thing. So we sat in the police headquarters for a long time. And but I had to fly back to Lagos that day because my friend's mom or dad had just died and I wanted to be at the funeral. So I had a flight back around for 3 p.m. or something. So I kept telling them, look, I can't stay here all day. So after a while, the PA to the IG came. I think his level must be like assistant commissioner. And he called me aside, he said I should come. So he started telling me stories. I didn't for a while. I just come back to Nigeria at the time, so I didn't really fully understand what was going on. So he said, that he has gone on the training on cyber security. I didn't see the relevance. He said he went to the ATM, he put his card there, he withdrew some money, but the money didn't come out, but he was debited. So I sat down there. I was genuinely wondering why he was telling me all this. So I said I don't understand what's going on. Then he started telling me stories about how he can do cyber security, check any computer. So I think at the point my Niger sense came back. And I told him, I said, look, I don't have time for all this, I'm sorry. If you don't, so basically what he was trying to do was they had delayed us, wasted our time, and they wanted us to drop something so that we can see the IG just because we want to upload locations of police stations in Nigeria on maps. So I went back to the main room and I told the Accenture guy, I said, bros, I'm heading back to Lagos. And I left the room. And that was the end of that project, by the way. I don't think they ever did it. Of course, the Accenture people were very angry and all that, but it's unfortunate that that's a system that we have created. And that's why I'm saying fixing a barracks doesn't solve anything. So this kind of prolonged protest, hopefully, maybe somebody will wake up. The final gist was when we went to EFCC, and the guy that was interrogating me, or he's supposed to be the EFCC commander in charge of cybersecurity. So he had all our accounts opened. He was trying to trace transactions, and he had Excel in front of him, and he was scrolling down to look for the thing. I said, "No, you can use search." He said, "No." He was scrolling down Excel. I'm not an Excel expert, but I thought the basic thing. If you're the cybersecurity expert, and I think if he's here and Jerry and Co, they can attest to how there was no cybersecurity anything in the entire setup. Now, these are the tools that are needed to solve modern day crime. They had none of it. They were relying on keyword searches to find things out. So we have a fundamental problem, and I think it's blown out now. So I don't know how long people can keep it, and maybe it's selfish for me looking out of the window and enjoy my life far away from you guys. But it doesn't change the fact that we have a problem, and I am kind of happy that it's blown up like this. And you guys, please reach out if there's any way we can actually support. I've been thinking about it for the last few days. I don't necessarily want to do anything that is like obvious that we're doing, but if there's any way we can support any of these protests or contribute towards anything, please let me know. And we'll do what we can. Broke my heart the day Rashid said the reason he's always going out to lunch or to buy food with Efe. Most of the time, it's usually with Efe. It's because he's afraid of SARS. And for a young man in his own country, not to have the boldness. I mean, I live in a country where there's a chance that out of maybe 10 people that see me on the road, maybe 3 of them don't even like me. The fact that I'm even here, they don't like the fact that I exist in this place. But I can walk freely. I can buy food anywhere. I can walk in the park. I walk on lonely roads. I walk at any time of the day, and I'm not afraid of anyone. But in a country where you were born, it's your country, you pay taxes, you contribute towards that country, you can't go out to buy lunch by yourself. That's disheartening. So guys, please let beyond session and beyond words, let's figure out what else we can do to contribute to this movement, because I think that's what it is. And yeah, if you have any ideas, I'm serious about it. Please just reach out and let's do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm adding people to the call so that you can, if you want to say anything, so that you can say it before we. Okay. So with this, I think we can call this a day. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you.
And next week we'll be having Rashid and Tolu for Cortical.